Ideas and inspiration for a classic wedding. Welcome back to Bride Society. I'm Rebecca, this is Laura, and so today we are talking classic wedding. So what is a classic wedding? What does that mean as a theme? So when we think about classic wedding, words such as sort of elegant, timeless, sophisticated, formal perhaps come to mind. It doesn't necessarily mean sort of rigid or traditional necessarily. Obviously things might mean slightly different things to you, that's fine, but we're here just to try and provide bits of inspiration in lots of different categories that make up the whole wedding picture to help give you a little inspiration if you're just trying to build that picture for your special day. So first up, in our categories we have attire, so outfits and shoes, what you'll be wearing on your classic wedding day. And I should say that all of these things are on an accompanying Pinterest board on our Pinterest, funnily enough, page, and we will link that in the description box below for you as well, so everything is there to check out. But as Laura was saying, yeah, so if you're thinking wedding dresses for the bride, then we're thinking clean lines, again the elegant sophistication, probably not super like statement outfits. That doesn't mean you can't be on trend, it doesn't mean you can't look amazing, but we're probably more, the crisp, clean, elegant wedding dresses. Yeah, it's like just not too much fuss or like you say, embellishment, statement, bows or whatever. Those sharp kind of lines. I almost want to say businessy, like if business was like sort of Wall Street business was a wedding, like in that kind of crisp, in the fashion sense. But also I think ball gowns also fit into this, but not like the super flouncy ones. Again, they're probably maybe like a kind of like fitted bodice perhaps, and then like a chic line coming out. Yeah. And we've got some pictures probably coming up of the styles we're trying to articulate. Yeah. And we'd also like say they would be paired with sort of shoes, again, white shoes, maybe kind of court, like maybe pointed toed shoes. Again, like nothing too crazy going on, but probably a heel. And maybe sort of a little bit of detail with like a bow or some like see-through, like I can never say the right fabrics, but like the transparent detailing, that kind of thing. But again, subtle, understated, but these clean lines kind of just give it that class. Yeah. And I think, and that obviously lends into the bridesmaids' outfits as well. Again, probably a single colour, maybe not mixing and matching in your bridesmaids' looks so much, perhaps, as because that has become quite a trend now. It's maybe not such a classic wedding look, but I think it could still work as long as maybe the colours were maybe more of done in a sort of satiny type fabrics, with that slight, with a slight sheen to it, more so than tulle and chiffon, like those soft fabrics. Something more of a, I don't want to say stiff fabric, but again, it's reflective of everything we were just saying about the bridal look. It's through the bridesmaids as well. Maybe like if you are introducing colours into the bridesmaids, because obviously they're probably not going to wear white, it might be kind of like an oyster. Yeah, probably the more neutral colours rather than anything too bright. Yeah. And the men. We can't forget the men. No, they're important too. If you've got men in the wedding, then we're probably talking again along the more formal side, maybe tuxedos. So for both the groom and groomsmen, if there are them,
maybe mixing up a different colour tie, possibly for the groom to make them stand out a bit more. But yeah, kind of tuxedo, sharp, tailored look.
Yeah, yeah, and you're probably possibly even looking at a bow tie opposed to a tie, perhaps.
Yeah.
Or as Laura said, you can obviously distinguish the groom by colour with the tie, or you could do it by bow tie versus tie for the groomsmen and differentiating that way as well. Like pockets square, plus your waistcoat. It's kind of the full shebang for the guys.
And probably black.
Yeah.
Maybe navy,
like
dark grey.
Navy, yeah.
We're probably not thinking unusual colours.
Yeah, or fabrics, yeah, and cufflinks.
Shiny shoes.
Yeah.
Patent black shoes, probably.
Yeah. Now we're thinking about jewellery and accessories, a very important part. Obviously it elevates any outfit. And particularly because obviously we were talking about the outfit being quite understated, classic, clean lines, not much fuss going on. You probably are thinking adding some accessories, jewellery, just to add that bit of something. But again, even in this category, we're not talking about any kind of blingy, big statement pieces necessarily. As a general rule for a classic wedding, we sort of feel like it's maybe you still got a bit of shimmer and sparkle perhaps, but it's all understated. It's more like elegant, dainty, like delicate jewellery. I mean, with maybe has detail at that point, but again, it's kind of what you sort of admire up close kind of thing, or maybe even some sort of like pearl type earrings, that kind of thing.
Yeah, probably smaller earrings, small drop earrings rather than really long, like big dangly ones. Small delicate necklace, maybe matching sets, possibly. Nothing like no big chokers, no huge cuffs, things like that. Your understated elegance is what we're going for.
Yeah, I think if you wanted to push the blingy aspect or statement piece, you might get away with it in a classic wedding. Like, you can get away with anything you want. It's your wedding, right? But if you're aiming to kind of be classically classic, it could be in terms of a hairpiece. Like if you're wanting to do like a tiara or something like that, if that's your craving, of any wedding style that perhaps fits into classic the most, that's probably where it sits. We've certainly, with everything we're showing you, have probably lent more into modern classic than traditional classic, and that perhaps sits more towards the traditional end, although now there's so much choice out there that I think you can probably still keep a quite modern look with it as well. But
and with classic wedding, classically, veils for your outfit, and this works really well. I mean, a lot of people do think a veil finishes off your bridal outfit. It makes you feel like a bride.
It does. It did that for me.
Yeah.
And I did, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, it's okay.
I initially was a bit like on the fence as to whether I was going to have a veil, and then I was in the store and they were like, oh, well, let's just try one on with the outfit. And then instantly I suddenly felt like a bride. Like it suddenly felt bridal and I was sold.
So again, probably a simple veil, but go long.
Yes.
Add the drama with the length of your veil. Perhaps a blusher part, I think, could work in this, depending on the style of dress. Maybe your venue location and ceremony location. But yeah, a long, tall veil with you don't need lace or like diamante embellishments, things like that. Just have the impact with your long veil.
Yeah, just a cut. Yeah. But yeah, long. And with that as well, if you wanted a hair piece, I mean, I know I sort of touched on veils, I don't know if that's the same thing. You could add a sort of bit of bling there if you like. Again, not really adding colour or anything, but just maybe a few diamante details, just, you know, at the top where the veil would sit in place, if you, just if you want a bit of something.
Talk of hairpieces and veils moves us nicely onto our next category, which is all about bridal hairstyles. And probably when we're talking about classic bridal hairstyle, we're thinking an updo. So this could be a low bun, this could be a chignon, that might not be how you pronounce that, so apologies if it's not. But these work really well with the hairpieces that go just kind of on the top of the updo, and then the veil goes in. Well, the veil goes in, and then the hairpiece goes over the top. And we're probably talking more like sleek look. It's out of your face. It's all about your natural beauty, classic beauty, and yeah, your hair's up, more formal style.
Yeah, definitely more sort of formal look. Yeah, the kind of the down kind of soft look. Yeah, that's probably your more sort of boho type things. Again, do what you want. It's fine. Yeah. You can, you know, take elements from different styles all you like, but yeah, the kind of classic is definitely more back, and that can either be super like classically, like, you know, sort of scraped back and like really smoothed back and a tight bun, or if you want it just slightly soft, you know, you can just loosen it maybe and add a little bit of texture going back, and maybe some soft bits around the face, but still overall, as Laura was saying, like that updo, it's back, it's up. Yeah. Now we're talking florals and decor, and as you might have guessed, white is going to be the predominant colour. Yeah, it really is just white. Obviously there be touches of green in there with the stalks of and things of the flowers. You might see touches of black in there, obviously, because to complement if there's a groom, like the black suits, that kind of thing. But yeah, you're probably sticking to quite classic, crisp whites. You know, even from like the table linens. I feel like that was a stipulation that your other half had for your wedding.
His one requirement was white tablecloths. Of all the things in wedding planning, that was the thing he was most concerned about. I don't know why. We had white tablecloths, so it was fine, but
he was happy. Yeah. What he wanted.
So people have interesting, different priorities.
Yes. But yeah, so the table linens, the napkins are probably white. Yeah, the flowers are going to be white. So we're talking decor, and this makes me think about chair covers. So again, as we said at the start, we're focusing more on modern classic than maybe traditional classic. I think maybe when you just think wedding, I think we all probably default to a mental picture that's maybe a traditional classic image in our brains. It's probably a wild overstatement, but you know, if you've grown up in this culture, like that's probably what you picture. And part of that is probably the white chair covers. If you watch other videos of ours, you will know my irrational disdain for for those plover white chair covers. They just make me cringe. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry for doing that because it's just my thing. Yes. So when it comes to modern classic, in my mind, you can create that look with these like Camelot chairs. Again, elegant. They're not too loud. You know, but they really nicely tie in. You don't necessarily have to put a white chair cover over something just because you think the sort of wedding, or even just because it's white. Yeah. Unless, I appreciate your venue might have red chairs, and that's not going to be in keeping with the classic element, and so you might really need the white chair cover, or do what I did where there were red chairs and we hired in Camelot chairs because it's how passionately I felt about the situation. But yes, so yeah.
No chair covers, I think, is the moral of that story. I think with flowers, there is scope to bring in a touch of colour, but I think probably blush might be the limit. We're still like very neutral.
Yeah, you're not putting like a pop of colour. Like it's not a standout like colour. Yeah, it's your white and maybe
if you want to soften it,
blush.
A tiny bit. Because again, we said earlier it's not trend led. There's no reason you can't follow trends, but we're not kind of bringing in lots of bright colours to take away and that you would kind of distract from everything, or
you're not going to have a neon sign.
Yeah, it's just a different theme.
Yeah, actually, the one exception I think to where you can have a pop of colour in a classic way, and you can agree or disagree with me, is a red lip as the bride. So yeah, if you want to be like pure white and then just like a bright red lip, I think.
Yeah, well, they call that a classic lip, don't they? So there you go, already on theme.
So we'll allow that one little pop.
But other than that, we're probably talking big white roses, which is quite a classic flower. Statement florals still. You can still have your statements, but it's all pared back on the colour scheme and just still elegant, sophisticated. They're the key words we're going for.
Yes. Yeah, hold those words in mind, basically, whatever you're looking at, and I think you won't go too far wrong.
And something that works really well in this theme of wedding, if you're being a bit extra, champagne tower. Why not? With the coupe glasses. Can you do it without? I don't think you do that with flutes, do you? Anyway, but yeah, coupe. And a tip with that, which I saw a trick recently.
Bring it. Let's hear it.
Get the staff to fill up some of the bottom ones. This photos really. Start filling the bottom ones first before you do your champagne pour, because then for the photos it all looks fuller and better. So you haven't just got a few glasses at the top with champagne in and nothing else at the bottom.
I thought that was going to be to do with like making it sturdier or something, like having some weight at the bottom.
That might.
That's where I thought that was going.
That's a bonus, yes.
Okay.
Moving on to stationery, which is a very important part of the day. It gives your guests kind of insight from before the wedding day on the theme and maybe style you're going for the wedding. And again, we're going modern, classic, which is very minimalist. So more about just a few words, keeping it simple, clean fonts.
Yes, and actually on fonts. This is one of those key areas, again, when we're saying modern rather than the traditional, because if you think sort of traditional wedding fonts, it's very calligraphic, very ornate writing.
Yeah.
You still kind of got this free style, like handwriting, flowy writing, so it's still kind of cursive and things, but mixed with a more formal font, like a more rigid font. But yeah, that's how you kind of can bring in the modern over the traditional, if you're wanting to just make it, well, modern. Bring it into modern day, As you were.
So like minimal, not waffle, but like minimal words on the invites, on your signage.
Yeah.
It's clear. It's got everything it needs to have, but it's just
probably white background, black font. Yeah,
keeping it simple, but it's probably actually quite. A lot of thought has gone into it. It's deceptively simple. The design.
Yeah, definitely. And I think at most, if you want to add a little something, you can maybe go with things that are maybe like debossed or embossed. Again, just to, add a little lift to the paper, but it's still not making it fussy or even colour. It's still just simple, but that can add a little something if you feel like, it's just a little plain. That's a way to do that as well.
And with signage, again, exactly the same as the invites, but you could add your signage in like black metal frames just to kind of make them stand out a bit more. Add a few of your flowers on there, so you don't have to have kind of just really plain, stark, no decor or anything. We're going with decor, it's just a type of decor we're going with. So yeah, have a statement floral piece next to it or on it, and that helps tie everything in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Our final category for today is cake and cake toppers. So, as you might have guessed, our kind of general cake theme is white. Yeah, again, clean lines, like smooth, like, yeah, classic, funnily enough. So yeah, you're probably talking like fondant rolled out icing for that sort of smooth look. If you are still wanting maybe a buttercream, again, you're trying to make that as white as possible and as smooth as possible. You're not really going like for a semi-naked or like textured buttercream look on this.
And the sharp edges on the tiers rather than like the rounded ones to give it more like defined, clean cut look.
Yeah, and you're probably going, again, classic like tiered cake. I know there's been trends that kind of moved away from that of late, but this is one for a classic wedding where I think you're probably not following that trend. I think you're still going tiered, maybe or maybe not with a cake topper. You might want to use some florals to give it that bit of something, because as much as we're saying like white, not going to use the word plain, but you might think, well, that's going to be a bit boring, we want something going on. We're not for a minute suggesting you just put a white cake with nothing going on out. So yeah, dress it up with some white florals, maybe sat on the top, sat on some of the edges of the tiers or going around, something like that.
Yeah, you could bring in bows, like big organza chiffon bow around one of the tiers, like an oversized one, but white on white. So again, it's not taking away from anything. It's not too much of a statement. It's a statement without being too loud.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
And yeah, if you were thinking of getting an actual topper, again, you'll see from the pictures we're going to put up that the traditional that comes to mind would be the classic little plastic bride and groom or bride and whatever combination you need, but those little figurines sat on the top kind of thing. Traditional side, obviously go that way if you want. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. I have no objections to it, but I think you still create a classic wedding look, but making it modern by maybe just having a topper in that's got your new married name in it, and it just kind of written in a sort of an acrylic cut out in a nice kind of modern cursive font, perhaps similar to what you've used on your stationery around in the invites and signage and things, just to kind of pull it all together. But again, probably in black or white, maybe in a reflective colour, like, you know, in a sort of a mirrored material. So that are kind of main thoughts, ideas, inspiration for a kind of modern classic wedding. Or have you found something in there that's got you excited and you're now going to go off and get Googling for things? Yeah, so we hope you enjoyed that. If you did, if you could give the video a like, we'd really appreciate that. Don't forget to hit subscribe, because we've got lots more content on this channel that's coming, and obviously a lot more on there as well. And don't forget to check out the Pinterest board that supports this video, where all the images that you've seen pop up on the screen will be, including more in all likelihood. So yeah, so you can obviously use that to save to your own pin boards and really keep your like inspiration together and let that build and as you get excited. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.